Hello, this is Fighting Irish for our last Operation Hercules. Turn 13, July 1942. The message just came in over the news with the fall of Moscow up there. The end of the war is near, the end of the war is over. The Allies surrendered, as well as the Comintern. The Comintern surrendered because they're down to 8 IPP. And they're in complete shambles. They don't know. I didn't update the board, but 59 units went in, 44 defended, and it was not close. Transcaucasia fell. Turkey aligned. Most of the Russian forces are all depleted. I have a sergeant over there who can't go down the stairs, who's screaming like bloody murder. Well, since the Allies surrendered, that gave the Emperor new territories in the Pacific. They gave up Hawaii. Actually, they would have gave up Hawaii. We would have took New Zealand as a prize for New Zealand, or Anzac. New Guinea would have given to us, and all of India would have gave to us for surrender. We might have split up Africa, or we might have just called it off right there. But I have to say, it was a fun and enjoyable game, Operation Hercules. Playing with a bunch of guys, learning experience, with big difference between version 3 and version 4. A lot of the rule changes caught us by surprise. There's one move I'll tell you later. We work really well with our allies, the Germans, the Nazis, and the Italians over here. We work really well. We had a lot of communication, a lot of talk with Knight Templar and Major Foe. Bunch of great guys to play with. We hashed out strategies. We worked out really well. The Battle of Spain coincided with our first movement. Our first objective was to take on China. It was to go into China hard, very aggressive. This is our second straight time playing Japan. And in our experience, whoever wins the Battle of China usually wins the war. So we wanted to go in there pretty strong, pretty heavy, and tried a different result, but it came out the same. We still had a big force down here in Yunnan with the Chinese at the end, and we were trying to avoid that by going north-south, but it didn't quite work out in our favor. We still ended up with that strange fate. One big huge army right here, eliminate the CCP. Then our next goal was the Dutch East Indies. That went quite successful. It worked out in our favor that the British fleet, majority of them left. It worked out really well. At the same time as the fleet left, with the attack of France over there, the Soviets had a huge army up here at the north, and it wouldn't leave. And the destruction of Warsaw, we had 18, 19 units over there in Warsaw up there, and we opened negotiations with the Russians, and the Russians, I said, hey, you got resources up there, or you got a capital over there, and 30 units facing you down. What do you want to do? At the same time, there was talks of we need to relieve pressure because the Commonwealth was building huge in Africa, many locations all over the place, lots of units. So we talked about how do we get help to Africa to relieve the Italians. The DAC came down, and at the same time DAC came down, we took Cape Town, which was important for Africa to give three fronts. The African Corps, who ran through Lower Egypt, and with every ship going on convoy, the British, Gibraltar was able to fall. But with three forces here, all in Africa, we were just able to keep growing, and the British ran away to fight the Italians, so that helped us there. The successful here, and at the same time, that same turn, something happened. The British left the destroyer over here in this sea zone that declared war on us on our turn, going in, which would have had Calcutta fall. Took us by surprise that instead of putting the Americans over here in the war, took that approach, and so we adjusted and took Malay instead. That changed our whole outlook on India. Instead of a quick run to Calcutta and branch out from there, we started from the bottom and was working our way around. The war ended when we got right to the jungle, to the desert. Now, what I was alluding to before, our biggest mistake in the game, when we had a huge army in Sinking right here, and we had small forces up on the coastline ready to invade India, or Russia, not India, but it was the same turn that Knight Templar was going to invade Russia. Now the rules changed in version 3 to version 4 that lend-leasing to the Soviets, you cannot do money. You can only do one unit. I totally missed that. So my mistake was we were going to invade. The whole point was putting these railroads here was to invade through eastern Kazakhstan, Turkestan, and start the battles around here. On the other side, that would have made a huge difference because we would have wiped out a bunch of the forces instead of him bringing everything and crushing us here in Sinking to bring back the CCP. His Air Force would have came over, but we were under the impression that USA could give Russia $30 or 30 IPP because of the land lease. New rules is you can only give one unit. If that was the case, we would have gone in. Germany went in, had a very successful run, but before then, when they went in, before they went in, Russia came and attacked us because we couldn't come to an agreement when neither one of us wanted to back off the borders. Instead of that was the next turn, he invaded us because we couldn't come to agreement about our borders and how to defend them or let them stay at peace. Russia couldn't afford to supply over here, so that's why Japan had many ground units. It worked out without a naval engagement, and we didn't buy a ship till the very last turn or so. We focus on the ground. Marines, militia, cavalry, everywhere. And then when we thought America was coming in, they didn't come in, but when they finally did, we tried for the objective of getting our islands over here, or their islands up here, Midway, Wake, Guam, Well, the Americans left. All American navies left. So if this would have gone out, we would have seen how far the Japanese could have expanded here in the Pacific. Anzac would have been on the chopping block. Not the west coast here, because Crooked Lake did a fine job of defending it. Canada looked like a target because nobody was there. Hawaii was on the chopping block, and every Solomon Islands, I believe, was next as well, because that's a bonus, I believe. But the war ended. Victory for the Axis. It was a great game. We learned a lot of rules. We hashed out a lot of differences, learning different styles, learning different rules. Knight Templar, he did a extremely well job in the attack in Spain and France, Warsaw, and the march straight to Moscow. Victory. Major Fool came in. Turn 2, came out with an Italian plan, and he worked it to perfection. I need so many turns to build. If you give me guys time, then I can execute a plan. And the British is pushed back to, looks like 3, maybe 2 territories in Africa. So Major Foe, hats off. Knight Templar, hats off. You guys played an extremely well game. Ozark, man, your knowledge of rules are impeccable. I enjoy playing with you. A new style of playing, a new way of doing France. I do have to appreciate right there our Japanese Foreign Legion. I have to appreciate that. Never seen that. I'll probably never see that again. It was our second time playing together. I love watching your strategy work. Curious about the Atlantic escort. Questioned it, but it worked to the T. Your whole fleet on escort. I have to get hats off. I questioned it, but then I watched it work to perfection, because your convoy went from 8 to virtually nil the rest of the game. That was a great move on your part. Yeah, I don't think your little island over here will ever get invaded. You bulked that up like there was no tomorrow. You did an awesome job at that. Flak 88, first time playing with you. First time playing with Major Foe as well. Second time with Knight Templar. Second time with Crooked Leg. No, third time with Crooked Leg. Flak 88, you had a very unique style. Very good defense up here. Very good strong. I'm not sure in Siberia what you wanted to do. So we, as the Japanese, took that as you wanted to fight us. So when our opportunity arose, that's what I'm assuming you wanted to do. So we went full heavy head steam into you. That was our goal. I think it worked out pretty good. You have 1 unit. We have 3 left there. I know CC came back. You did a valiant defense right there in Overbirth. Pushed us back. Like I said, it's learning for all of us. Crooked Leg. I very much enjoy playing with you. I like your knowledge. I love talking strategy with you. This American style, all in Atlantic. Never seen that. Seen it all go to the Pacific over here. But never into the Atlantic. Full steam, everything. Well, most everything in the Atlantic. All ships over here. I would love to see how that played out. To see if you could crack Europe. See if you could break the Atlantic wall in this. I mean, they have the Operation Overlord. Maybe that was your idea. I would love to see how that would have worked out. But overall, as a Japanese player, I think this was a very successful game. Foothold here in Japan or in Africa. Slow walk in India. But a walk is better than none at all. Pacific was wide open, so we were happy with that. We were gaining foot. And we were willing down the Chinese. What is that? 5, 6, 7, 10 units of KMT. That's better than facing 40 at one time. That's a much doable number. That 10, 11, how many ever units you have left? 12. That is so much better than the last one where we had to face them all at once. Headache once or headache later. Either way, it's pretty stressful. I don't know. But as the thing progressed, as if the game would have progressed, with no naval presence there, it would have been more focus on ground, so it would have been, in a matter of opinion, ground force units would have been heavily bought here and transported to the coast to wipe out the rest, and then eventually get to India and then maybe to Australia. But that is another time. And I want to say thank you again, guys, for playing. A lot of hours put into this game. This is a huge game. A lot different from 3 to 4. A lot more rules, a lot more technical stuff. We are starting a new game. Operation Red Cloud. We will be playing the British Commonwealth, France, FEC, and the Anzac in a rematch. And the major foe will be the United States, will be our ally right there. And Knight Templar will be the Soviets. Black 88 will be the Italians. Ozark Outpost will be the Germans. And Crooked Leg will be the Japanese. He, I know, has done exceptionally well at that, so I can't wait to see his empire grow as big as this. It will be an exciting game. We'll all flip sides, so stay tuned. That will be very shortly. This is Fighting Irish, over and out. Bye.